be talking about what makes women resilient in the area of entrepreneurship. So, the latest Mastercard Index of Women Entrepreneurs 2019 revealed that Uganda leads African countries that have a high number of women-owned enterprises as a percentage of total business owners. Despite the poor entrepreneur enablers in the country, Uganda ranked first at 38.2% of female owners as percentage of total business owners. But how can Ugandan women entrepreneurs be supported more, and what makes them tick? Now, joining me for this discussion are two prominent business leaders, Dr. Maggie Kigozi, a director at Pepsi, former and former executive director of Uganda Investment Authority, and Sandra Etyang, the CEO of Western Silk Road, which makes the Asali Wa Moyo Honey brand. I think you've heard about that, Asali Wa Moyo Honey brand. Sandra is also the winner of the DFCU Rising Woman 2019. They both join me right now in studio. Very good morning, Etyang. Thank you for coming. Dr. Maggie, thank you for coming. Now, in the leading markets of Uganda and Ghana, nearly 4 in 10 businesses are owned by females. Are the women finally taking over?
Absolutely. We've taken time. It has taken us time to respond to the patriarchal system that we had to work in. But I think things have changed, and the women are doing well because, well, there are many reasons. First of all, they have to.
Yes.
Some of us are single mothers, others are, the husband is struggling, we're all struggling. So women have had to come in and participate. You cannot be a housewife anymore. Ladies out there, if you still are, that's history. So start your business. And they're doing that. And they are also now doing their businesses as businesses. Even my grandmother was a businesswoman, but she never registered a company, but she was selling and buying and farming. So, but now the women are actually coming out forward and registering their businesses. They are very reliable. The banks are happy. They have all kinds of programs for us now. She won the DFCU Resilient Women, and there are so many Superwoman and others. So the banks have come to respond to the need by the women and to see how they can help them, because there are challenges. The women have challenges. They do.
And what are some of the factors that contributed to this resilience that we are seeing in women right now?
The factors was, well, the biggest one is I have to. My kids have got to eat, my kids have got to go to school, so I must succeed. Then they have knowledge available to them. Now we have you, the media, thank you so much.
Welcome.
All of you in the media doing so much to inform and disseminate, but I still think you can do more. But yeah, good start.
Yes.
But also the training institutions, skills training all over the country. A lot of skills are being given to young people in hairdressing, in agriculture, and as a business, running them as businesses. So we have better managed businesses. I am so happy to be sitting next to Sandra.
Yes.
She was just a good example of what I'm telling you. What I'm saying is no woman would have been running a honey business a few years ago and thinking of it as a business. She'd have a hive somewhere and get some honey, and that was it. But now look at all the women are moving in the same direction. So we are resilient. We are #1 in the world. Now it's not only in Africa. We are #1 in the world. The percentage of women that are in business. Yes. And big business, we're there. We have attacked big business as well. So it's not about small and medium enterprises. We are there with the manufacturing sugar. We are Noya Farm and others. So in big business, we are there too.
Let's talk about some of the limitations women grappled with before actually they became this resilient. The patriarchal society did play a role to hold some women back. So what are some of the other contributing factors that affected women before?
One of them was lack of knowledge. Women are too busy. They don't have time to listen to radio. They don't have time to go for trainings. They don't. They are taking kids to school, feeding everyone, looking after the extended family. So time is a problem.
Yes.
Secondly, the bureaucracies of government that we used to have. But now we have e-government. You don't need to register your company. Don't sit to meet anyone. You can pay your taxes without meeting anybody. So really those bureaucracies really held the women back. They were so scared of the police. They were so scared of URA and immigration, those who want to export. It was really a problem. So that has it has come down. It's not perfect yet, but yeah, we're getting there. Then the issue of land, access to land by women. Historically, we could not inherit land. At least in Uganda, in my tribe, land was left to the boys who were the same clan. You are going to get married in some other clan. That has changed as well. I see fathers, even their heir is a woman, and the land is shared out, and we all get a piece where it is. And if not that, I tell women like Sandra here, who's working, buy your own land. Why are you waiting to inherit some tiny little piece from your grandfather? So the access to land was a challenge. Access to credit. Again, I've told you, we have so many banks. They are all fighting for us. They have all kinds of products. And even government has come in with a women fund, and the bank, you know, through the banks, there is a fund to encourage manufacturing by women. Yes, so those would have been our biggest problems, and some solutions have been found. Some
solutions have been found, and of course, women like Sandra Etyang are inspiring so many young people right there, especially the ladies. And we would like to know, Sandra, how and why did you start your business?
I started my business with my husband, who was my boyfriend then, because we needed an extra source of income. We were looking into starting a family, and with what he was making and what I was making, we knew we would need more because school is very expensive now. Anyway, so we started by getting 10 hives, took them to Kigumba, and we were assured that within the first year we'd make our money back and would have profits. So we're very excited about the project. A year later, we had insects in the hives.
Wow.
Yes, so my husband is not as patient as I am, and sometimes he is.
Men are never patient.
No, sometimes it is. It depends on what it is. So because he was assured of quick money, he was like, this is a loss. I decided we're not giving up because it cost us a lot. They were very nice looking hives. So I went to the internet, started learning everything I could about beekeeping, and in that process I decided it made more sense for me to work with the community as opposed to doing it solo. So I talked to a few households. I had about 15 then, and that's how we started off. We didn't have very much money, but we started by giving. We were mostly working with ladies because it's the ladies that actually do the work. So we gave them 2 hives each, and we started actually getting honey. I paid more attention to the honey. I got some training.
Asali Wa Moyo.
Yes.
Is that the correct pronunciation?
Yes, it is. I got some training from Bees Abroad UK. I got into the Mandela Washington Fellowship, so that also...
That is after you've already started the business?
Yes. So that helped me to learn more about beekeeping and the other things I could do with it besides just beekeeping. So when I came back from the fellowship, I was very excited. I learned to package honey in straws. I learned to make infused honey. And as we speak now, we have a network of about 500 farmers.
Wow.
And we're still expanding.
Let's talk about that moment before starting the business. What did you do before starting your business?
I'm a telecom engineer by profession, but I was working for a security company. So the money was okay. It was for a single person, not for, like, you know, a parent. So yeah.
And what makes your business so unique? The Asali Wa Moyo Honey brand. What makes it so unique?
We work with rural households, not just farmers, rural households, and then we package our honey according to the region it's from. Like if it's from Uganda, we're going to package. We're going to have a small label on it saying Uganda. I brought some samples. Unfortunately, I forgot them out. So when a customer comes to buy, you can taste the honey and decide which one you want to get, and whichever you're comfortable with. Every time you come back, you're guaranteed to have that.
How did you decide what market to target?
The market part was a bit tricky. So it was after going to various businesses, having chats with them, basically getting sassy. That is how we discovered what our market was, and we realized the middle class was our target market. They like the nice things, they like fancy packaging, and that's what we went for.
Miss Maggie, I'll bring this question back to you. Dr. Maggie Kigozi, what's the most difficult thing about building a brand from scratch?
Oh, it definitely is not easy. It is to have consistency. Yeah, as Sandra says, every time I get that Buganda coffee, it must taste the same. So that consistency, the quality. So the UNBS mark, somebody saying this quality is good, then it has to be on the shelf when I need it. So where I expect to get it, is it there? Or did I come last week and there wasn't, so I then tried something else. So again, you have to be there when your customer needs it. And so those would be the three strongest builders of your brand. And after you've now got the brand, you can then open up and go bigger and wider. The market. Yes.
So Sandra, what were the limitations actually that were most difficult about starting your honey, Asali Wa Moyo Honey brand? Yes.
I didn't know where to start. I had the honey. I actually had to keep the honey in my house for about a year because there was a challenge of packaging. The first packaging I got, the jars leaked, so the labels were all smudged. It was not very nice. So it took a while, but packaging was the biggest challenge, and also market. You go to a supermarket and there are like 10 other honey brands. They're really not interested in you, and then you have to bargain and figure out a pricing strategy. But I'm glad that we've gotten to a better place now.
Amazing. Dr. Maggie, let's talk about business ownership. What differentiates Uganda from the other African countries?
Oh, what differentiates us? We are in a fantastic country that God loved so much. God gave us everything. Beautiful climate, beautiful, lots of rain, there's lots of water like Victoria and all the others. We have very nice, very friendly people. Yeah, we really, it's a plus. It's a plus. Everyone who comes here says, everybody's smiling, everybody's interested, and that is Ugandan. That is Ugandan. Then such a depth of education. We've had Makerere University. Even my father was a graduate of Makerere University. And so is all the next generations. So we've had this depth of education, which in Africa is not so common. Yeah, so all kinds of educated people. You had, she's a telecom person. There you are. So that is also fantastic that we are able to build on that. Then we have the resources, and government has worked seriously on the infrastructure. Infrastructure was a major constraint, particularly energy. Without power, a lot, you can't do much. But now that is available all the time, and that's fantastic. Information communication technology has improved our lives. All of us, especially those of us in the farming sector. You can now talk to people, you can email, you can send your money with mobile money, you can receive money, you can do e-banking, agency banking. That
you can do your own advertising.
You can do your own advertising as well. Yeah, so that ICT, the whole sector and what's happened to it, and you, the media, contribute heavily.
And let's talk about the political environment. Has the current political environment provided a conducive environment for actually all women in Uganda to fully participate in business?
I think the efforts are good. The laws and regulations are in place. We have good laws and the Constitution actually protected us from the word go. We had fantastic women in the Constitution making process. It actually protects all of us as women. The implementation may not be that great, but you do see efforts even within the police, even to get better. And so Uganda Revenue Authority, all of them have a women's desk. We worked on that as Uganda Investment Authority to ensure that in every agency, women are supported. I remember women would run away from the security guard at the door of the bank, go back with bags of money. Remember, we used to have bags at that time of money, and because the security guard was not polite and was scary. So that has changed. That has really changed, and the women themselves needed to build their confidence. Knowledge is power. A knowledgeable woman, Sandra just gave you the example. She went to learn about honey. So give them knowledge, and they succeed. And a lot of people are giving them knowledge at the moment, including ourselves in the private sector.
What else can we do to empower women so that they can grow in the areas of entrepreneurship, except legislation?
No, we can't force it. Entrepreneurs, some of them are born, other ones are made, and you can't make yourself. But I always say to all women, at one point you have to be an entrepreneur. You may have a wonderful job even today with NTV. It may not be there 2 years down the road, even or 10 years down the road. So are you ready? So I ask them to prepare themselves as women. Be ready. Can you do an entrepreneurship course so that when you go into the business, you don't go like Sandra and say, I don't know. Go there saying, I know.
Yes.
Okay, so knowledge is always power. Do an entrepreneurship course. Decide what is it you like. Your vision should be something you enjoy. Sandra enjoys her honey. If she doesn't, she would not. So do something you like and get yourself ready for it. Things have been put in place. Look for them. Go to the agencies of government that support you.
Dr. Maggie Kigozi, the director at Pepsi Pharma and former executive director of Uganda Investment Authority. I also have Sandra Etyang, the CEO of Western Silk Road. She makes the Asali Wa Moyo Honey brand right there. Thank you very much, Stephen Bide, for that report. He has been speaking to some women right there at Cooper Complex. You've heard from them. They are telling you, all other women out there who are watching, please be resilient and do not give up in that regard. I still have Dr. Maggie Kigozi and Sandra Etyang. We are still having this conversation. Miss Maggie, Dr. Maggie Kigozi, you did talk about the issue of education. Women need to be educated when it comes to business and all that. But while women in most countries are likely to be enrolled equally as men in colleges and universities, in countries like Uganda, you have Nigeria, there are problems in low-income countries. The enrollment of women is actually low at higher education. How best can we, fill that, close that gap?
Yes.
Remember, this report shows that 4.0% of females of tertiary age are actually enrolled in college or university.
For only 4.0?
Only 4.0%.
Wow. I wonder if that's Uganda. Doesn't look like it to me when I see 52% of Makerere are women, 54% of Nkumba are women. Then I am not too sure about the figures, but definitely in primary school, many women girls drop out at that level. But after they've got to the tertiaries area, they continue to be competitive, I think. So how do we prevent that? We must make sure the girls are in school. This is a government policy. This is a must. Everybody must be in school until they're 18, whether you're male or female, when you're declared adult. So we just, as government, as local councils, I think the LC1 woman was supposed to make sure there's no girl that's sitting at home or has been married when she's 14. All that is illegal. Yeah, so we need to push that and make sure it's being implemented.
There's also poor access to health. What do you have to say about that?
Yes, poor access to health definitely affects women more. We have maternity to deal with. We have more women with HIV/AIDS, for example, than men. And very sadly, we have young girls who are HIV positive. So we shall need to focus on health a little bit more to ensure that you as media come in strongly with messages for the girls. The girls don't have to have sex. They are really below the age when it should be important, but they just don't know. So we need to be able to brief them and help them to prevent the men who want to either marry them or just make them pregnant.
Amazing. Sandra Etyang, what advice would you have for someone, a viewer who is watching this show right now, if they wanted to start their own business? What advice would you have for them?
First of all, it's not very easy being a woman in business, especially when you want your business to grow very big. So my first advice to women, especially those that have partners, get the right partner. It helps very much to have a supportive partner when you're doing business, because there is travel involved. Sometimes men are very insecure. So those are the things that could make your business to not grow as much as it should. Then sometimes you don't actually need very much capital to start a business. Start small and then grow gradually. It won't happen in a day, but you will eventually grow. I'm a testimony. And then it's good to have a role model. From the time I was young, Maggie was CEO. Of course, I used to read newspapers, and she was my biggest inspiration. I looked up to her. I remember when I was 21, I told myself by the time I make 30, I would be a CEO. It didn't exactly happen. It happened a little after. But I'm very glad I had somebody to look up to and to help me guide my goals.
Indeed. She talked about a supportive husband, Dr. Maggie Kigozi. Let's talk about that. The issue of some women who want to join business, but then they have that husband that is adamant to let them join that space because of some insecurities. Either they think the woman will be meeting other men while they are on that business venture. I myself, my own father, denied my mother that chance in the 90s to start her own business. He had his own reservations that she might go out there and meet some men. But I think mindsets are now changing. Men are actually allowing women to go out into that space of entrepreneurship. What do you make of that?
I don't know if it's just allowing, but it's difficult to keep a woman home when you don't have enough money in the home. So I think it's more necessity that, okay, let her go and work. Maybe the two salaries or the business will help the family as well. But yes, about men being insecure, I always want to comfort them. When any woman goes out to do business, really top of her mind is her business. It is not the other nice young men in the room. It really isn't. So please, gentlemen, allow your women to go. Just you be a good husband. So if I've come from a home where I know somebody's good to me, somebody loves me, somebody looks after us as best he can, I'm not about to look for other men.
Indeed.
So we need to comfort our men that it is not about looking for men. When we go out there, we want to do our businesses and succeed.
Amazing. Of course, Dr. Maggie Kigozi has been in this space for the last 2 decades. I've been watching you since I was a little kid. I was so inspired, despite the fact that I'm a man. But I did admire your zeal, your courage, the fact that you did go for your goals and you were doing major things for a woman at the time. So tell us, as we wrap up, what made you so resilient to overcome all those difficulties as you were actually engaging in this space of entrepreneurship?
One of them, most important, I think, was I was very loved at home. I had parents who loved me, and I had 4 brothers. Loved me, challenged me, looked after me. So I grew up, men were not a mystery. I knew them so well. Secondly, I got a very good education. And Aga Khan, went to Gayaza High School, went to Makerere University. So I got a very good education. And I said earlier, knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power. And I trained in an area, I'm a medical doctor, where you have networks, you meet people, you have people skills, and that has stood me in good stead in everything I've done after that.
Amazing, amazing. So Sandra Etyang, what has made you resilient? In 40 seconds, we are wrapping up. And what type of person do you think should be an entrepreneur as we wrap up?
My resilience was, I have 4 children, right?
Wow.
Yes.
Amazing.
So
you don't look like you even have one.
I have a 2-month-old.
Wow.
Anyway, the children, I always, every parent wants the very best for their children, right? So that is what has made me resilient, number one. But also importantly, I have a very supportive husband. Anything that I come up with, however crazy it is like, do it. So that has really helped.
And what type of person do you think should be an entrepreneur?
Anyone can be an entrepreneur. There's no rocket science in entrepreneurship.
There is no rocket science in entrepreneurship. Anyone can be an entrepreneur. I've been having Sandra Etyang. She's the CEO of Western Silk, which makes the Asali Wa Moyo Honey brand. I also had Dr. Maggie Kigozi. She's the director at Pepsi. She's a farmer. She's the former executive director of Uganda Investment Authority. These women have been doing major things and are calling on other women in Uganda, East Africa, the world and beyond to actually be resilient and enter that space of entrepreneurship. It's your time. Go out there and conquer. My name is Romeo Busiku. It's been amazing to have you join us from 6:30 a.m. up to now. But unfortunately, we have to make space for BBC Money Daily and later on Mwasus MTR. Good morning.